how ya? Notice good things I will say the word Henry, then after that no, good things I'll look at you and say Henry, bad things I'll look at you and say how ya.
Oh yeah.
Wow, okay. But it could be that you are doing a bad thing. It's just that the name I associate is with how ya. It's from lower JH days. For those that were in our class, you all remember. Two of them are very good. Okay. May I get you to go to blood vessels, page 15 of the textbook. This is where you can take down notes. At the same time, this is the CA that we're about to look at. I hope you can appreciate and notice by now that every time I teach you about structure of something, notice that the skill is always to identify. Right? I teach you the structure of phloem and xylem. Yeah, I expect you to be able to identify. Teach you the structure of the heart. I expect you to be able to identify. Every time there are structures involved, you are expected to be able to identify. Today, we're going to learn about the structures of our blood vessels, and after which we're going to try to identify what A, C, and B is. Y'all learn anything about blood vessels in primary school? No? Okay. So, as of now, all we know is that we have a heart. But the heart is a pump, a working pump that connects every part of our body via blood vessels. Today we're going to learn about the different kinds of blood vessels. Very broadly, there are around 3 categories of blood vessels. First category we refer to as artery. Artery for singular, arteries that are plural. We also have veins. So there's vein for singular, V-I-N-S for plural. Arteries and veins. How do we designate something an artery or vein? Actually, we've already encountered a little bit of this when we talk about the structure of the heart. We call something an artery if it is bringing blood away from the heart. Okay, so bring blood away from the heart. This is usually how we designate something an artery or a vein. Veins bring blood to the heart. And so, if you still recall the structures of a heart, notice the pulmonary artery transports blood away from the heart. The aorta, which is also a form of artery, transports blood away from the heart. The vena cava. Okay, let me write down examples you already know now. Okay, then it will be a little bit more relatable to you. So examples of veins that you've already encountered: vena cava, bring blood back to the heart from all parts of the body. You have the pulmonary vein, brings blood back from the lungs. Artery, you have encountered examples such as the pulmonary artery, which brings blood away from the heart to the lungs. And then we have the aorta, brings blood away from the heart to the rest of the body. So arteries are blood vessels that bring blood away. A for away. B for okay, forget that. A for away will do. Okay, I'd like you to think with your partner. Within each one of these blood vessels, is it carrying oxygen or not carrying oxygen in the blood? like you to think about the route and in which all these blood take. When the blood leaves the pulmonary artery, does the blood contain oxygen or is it devoid of oxygen? Deoxygenated. When it comes back from the lungs via the pulmonary vein, will it have oxygen or no oxygen? When it leaves the heart via the aorta to the rest of the body, will it have oxygen or no oxygen? Vena cava coming back from the rest of the body, have oxygen or no oxygen? You know that you're quite familiar with the structure of the heart. Yes.
So like, there's no other like so-called pumps in the rest of our body.
I don't have. Our heart is the only pump.
So the heart pump once can like the blood go all the way up.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? If you feel your fingertips, you feel a pulse, right? It's just from your heart. I think it's amazing. That means that's how much power your heart has. I ask you to blow into a straw, your whole face will turn red already, but your heart can pump all the way to the tips of your finger. Okay? Right, so blood coming in from the vena cava, from the rest of the body, it should be low in oxygen, correct? Yeah? It should be low in oxygen. Low in O2. Because the rest of the body has used up the oxygen. Therefore, the blood that is going out via the pulmonary artery to the lungs, this one also low in O2. But after coming back from the lungs, where it got oxygen, now it will be high in O2. This just came back from the lungs also. I change color, then you can tell which one has oxygen, which one doesn't. Okay, then when transported to the rest of the body, this will also have high O2. I hope you can appreciate the circuit within our body. Which blood vessel is carrying more oxygen, which blood vessel is carrying less. If you notice, therefore, the left side of the heart is the one that actually carries a lot of oxygen. Right? The left side of the heart is where blood just comes back from the lungs, being pumped to the rest of the body. This side is full of oxygen. Right hand side is where it receives blood from the rest of the body, goes to the lungs to top up oxygen. Okay? Yeah? Appreciate this circuit that the circulatory system has. When I went to the army, I found some friends that didn't have to do strenuous exercise. Because after they scan, okay, all the boys here, when you go army, you have to go for a health checkup. They will do an X-ray on you to check that you're okay. But usually during these X-rays, right, a lot of things turn up. One of the very common things I hear, right, is that they discover that the guy has a hole in the heart. Not because his heart broken, like it's a defect. So when he's born, there's a hole, and a lot of times there's a hole at this particular part. Between the ventricles. Small hole there. What is the impact of this? Actually, the impact of this is that blood that just came back from the lungs with a lot of oxygen, that is about to go to the rest of the body, you know what happened? It can end up mixing into the right ventricle. That would mean that the blood going to the rest of the body will have less oxygen. So that's why people with a hole in the heart, they tend to not let them go for army. Okay, so take note for yourself, which blood vessel is carrying high oxygen, which one low. I'm not going to put in the blanks for you. Yes?
So like, if you're in a like airtight space and you're running out of oxygen, can you just inject oxygen into your blood?
Yeah, I think theoretically, right, if you hold your breath, like I take you up, right, you cannot breathe, right, but somehow we can still give you dissolved oxygen to your blood, right? Technically you don't need to breathe. Yeah. That's what you're doing when you are a baby inside your mom. It's not like inside when you're putting inside you're like then blowing bubbles out, right? Inside the water bag. So you will feed oxygen into your belly button and then direct into your bloodstream. You know, when you were a little baby, your umbilical cord served many purposes. Oxygen was going in, carbon dioxide was going out. The food that your mom ate was also going in. Then all your shit and urine go out via the same place also. Yeah, that was literally a lifeline. That means there was a point in your life inside your mom's tummy, you did not eat, you did not shit, you did not pee, you did not take a deep breath in or deep breath out. Everything was done by your mom and channeled through this tube. Yes?
So our mother will shit our shit.
Yeah, lor. Okay, sorry, I think I'm giving you a misconception. At that size, right, you're not exactly producing shit. Okay? Yeah? Your mom will send nutrients into your body via the umbilical cord. Then whatever leftover nutrients or new waste product you produce, right, that is dissolved in the blood will just go out via umbilical cord. You don't produce shit at that age. Yeah. Okay? Alright, so that's number one. Arteries bring blood away from the heart, veins bring back. Now the question is, when your arteries reach parts of your body, it needs to give oxygen to the parts of your body, right? And food. Have you ever wondered how arteries are connected to the various parts of the body? Is it like, for example, let's say the artery goes to, let's say now we've reached your kidney. Okay? How do you think the artery is able to give oxygen to the kidney? Does it literally just artery just poke inside, then like come you suck out the oxygen yourself? No, it doesn't work that way. Actually, you know what our arteries do? Just like a river stream, it branches into tiny river streams. So what will happen is that the artery will branch out into tinier blood capillaries. These blood capillaries will branch out even more and even more until it reaches the cells. So it does not just, it's not like plumbing system where you just plug in. Actually, that it branches out like roots of a tree, like rivers of a stream. Okay, that did not make sense. Like rivers of a stream, like branches of a river. I like how you just got. Then once it's given the oxygen ready, it will branch back into the veins. Okay, so that's how it goes. It's not a plug-in plug. Not like a cable here. So let me introduce a third kind of blood vessel. The very tiny ones. The tiniest of blood vessels we call capillary. Capillary is singular. Capillaries, many. So, if you like to, you can even go to the internet. I like this image. If you search this particular image, then this is what it looks like in our body. We have arteries, we have veins. In between, we have capillaries. This is where you will put your organs. You put one kidney there, one liver there. That's how they will grab the oxygen and nutrients from the blood vessels. Because these blood vessels over here, they're extremely thin. Things can go in and out of these capillaries. Arteries and veins are too thick. Things cannot go in and out. Yeah? But these points over here is very thin, the walls. Things can go in and out. That's where the exchange occurs. Yeah? Not the blood, but the nutrients can go in and out. Okay? So, if I were to draw the same diagram, let's say you want to take photo of that, then you can draw this for yourself. form also. And reconnect to a vein. Okay, so currently we know three kinds at the moment. Vein, we know artery, and in the middle, capillary. Yes.
What's the point of that?
Of this, is it?
Like the blood is just mixing for no reason.
Oh, it's not mixing. It is flowing like that, like that. Then after it will go back to the heart.
But the blood didn't get used by anything.
The blood is it?
It didn't get used by anything. So it just go back.
Oh, okay. Because it's empty. So let me now put in something up. Maybe at this point over here is where your kidney is. Now you want to give your kidney a blood. Okay? So maybe over here is where your organ or your tissue is. By branching out so thinly, then nutrients can go out and waste products can go in. The walls of the capillary are extremely thin. Very thin. Yeah. Oh, like what type of transport is going out in it, is it? Okay. That's our next chapter. So next chapter, not next chapter. Next lesson we will learn the various processes that account for this arrow in and out. Okay? But some examples you learned before already, like diffusion. Why you in B attire? Where's your pants?
It's in my bag.
Oh. Okay, so probably three kinds of blood vessels. Lastly, I'd like to introduce intermediates. You see this smaller artery branching out? Sometimes you see the word arteriole. You see this small blood vessel branching back in? Sometimes you call it venule. Okay, sharp, I don't know how to spell. Venule, how to spell? Venule. I think I spelled it wrongly. Okay, venule. Wrong. Okay? So you have in total 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hey, what? This picture is very good. Your internet access, like can you go to Google type blood vessel type, then you find this image very good, I just realized. Find this image and paste inside your notes. Okay, I'm going to upload the same image. Go and download this or copy paste into your notes. This is a very good comparison that you can use. Okay, go and extract that picture out now. That will be very useful for us to identify blood vessels. Okay, go to Google Classroom to find the image now. identify these blood vessels so that we can differentiate between A, B, and C image inside your CA. And as well as every other examples you encounter in the future. If you look at the screen, this is a drawing version. But for us, we'll provide you real images, like in your CA. Observe that from the artery all the way to capillary, the walls get thinner, yeah? And then when you go to the veins, from capillary to veins, notice that the thickness is not as thick as the arteries. I have to say the primary reason why arteries are so thick is because it needs to withstand the pressure from your heart. Yeah? Every time the heart pumps, there's a lot of pressure. So the artery needs to be thick so that it doesn't burst. Okay? So artery walls are thicker. They are thicker to withstand high pressure. That's the first observation you can make. Yes, God?
Veins also have to withstand high pressure.
Okay. Veins withstand lower pressure. Why? Okay, it's like this. As the river runs from the mountain top, like your heart, to the rest of your body, then as it's traveling back to your heart, actually the pressure very low already. The blood has lost a lot of energy along the way. Yeah? So blood that's going back to your heart is of low pressure. Lost a lot of energy along the way as it passes through all the organs, all the tissues. In your textbook, they share with you the various layers of a blood vessel, and I expect you to know these layers. So let's run through the layers from inside out. Number one, the innermost layer of any blood vessel is called the endothelium. Okay, it goes something like that. Okay, first layer, every draw on the top. The innermost layer of any blood vessel is called the endothelium. It is made up of cells. Can you see that I'm trying to depict that the walls of the blood capillary or the walls of the blood vessel is made up of individual cells that are flat? Yeah? So these are all cells. That's the innermost layer. The second layer moving out is called, okay, so I'm going to draw one more layer wrapping around. This layer is called the basement membrane. This layer helps to keep all the cells together so that they don't just fly away everywhere. Sorry, I have a question. Yeah, so 2 layers so far. Every blood vessel has these 2 layers, starting from inside out. Yes? Oh, what's its purpose? Its purpose really is to just form the tube. Yeah? Okay, so our body uses cells to form the blood vessel actually. The blood vessels are not made up of piping. The pipe, okay, is made up of cells. Okay. Blood capillaries only is made up of endothelium and basement membrane. Okay? So if you look at capillary, it is made up of only these two layers. Arteries and veins are different because they have additional layers. I'm going to show you the additional layers now that arteries and veins have. Number one, arteries and veins have two more layers of things. They have one layer that is made up of muscles. We call these muscles smooth muscles. Very often you will see them joined this way. Lots of muscle fibers. The last layer, if you read your textbook, they say that it's made up of the last layer. The last layer in your textbook, they will say it's made up of elastic collagen fibers. Collagen is a form of protein. Okay? These are the broad structure layers of a blood vessel. Yeah, hey, you take photo, or you can find online also. Online will have very similar images. If you refer to the image that I just uploaded on your Google Classroom, you see the same thing. Capillaries are just made up of endothelium as well as the basement membrane. Transparent basement membrane. But if you look at arteries and veins, the layers are thicker. There are muscle fibers, there are collagen fibers. All of this helps to withstand the high blood pressure. Yes?
So the arteries have more layers because they are
Right, okay. So you want to ask the key question. Arteries need to withstand higher pressure because the blood is coming away from the heart, right? So, to withstand the high pressure, this is what arteries do. Arteries have a much thicker layer of smooth muscle and thicker layer of collagen fiber. Yeah? Okay, so these two layers over here are thicker in arteries to withstand higher blood pressure. let's look at the three blood vessels provided. Can you identify which is the aorta, which is the vena cava, which is a blood capillary? Okay, hopefully it's easier now to identify. Now I'd like you to try to identify A, B, and C. They put asterisks here. C is actually much smaller than these two. So it's actually magnified up so that you can see a bit clearer. But it's much smaller. Okay, everyone please try. Identify A, B, and C. That's the skill to pick up today. Question. She asks, what are these black dots over here lining the blood vessel? See, these dots are the nucleus. I said that blood capillaries are made up of one layer of cells. Yeah? So all of those black dots you see are the nucleus. You could label it therefore. And label this, all this as nucleus of the endothelium cell. Say again for those that missed it. All these black dots surrounding, these are just the nucleus of the endothelial cell. The cell of the endothelium. And therefore actually, what is C? Why we put ACB? Yes.
All those the basement remains made out of like why? Sometimes look at it later I can.
Okay, so what's what? What is blood vessel A? What do you tell? Pulmonary artery. Also okay? Okay, could be a pulmonary artery, could be aorta. It is an artery of some sort. Yeah? Can you actually see the muscular layer? You can almost see this layer here, darker color. There's like a muscular layer. Then outer layer over here, the lighter pink one, likely is the collagen fibers. C is the capillary. Yeah? You can label this region here as the endothelium. That's why you can see all the nucleus of the cell. Therefore, B is the vein. Notice the muscular layer for the vein is thinner. This dark pink region is thinner, the muscular layer. The elastic fiber also thinner. Arteries actually have a much smaller hole compared to the veins. Yes?
How thin is the actual vessel?
The actual what?
The actual thing, how thin?
Oh, like the capillary?
Like the artery.
Artery. Arteries can be as thick as like your pinky.
Yeah? It's like microscopic.
It is microscopic, but it can be as thick as your pinky, the thickest ones are. You know one of your thickest arteries you can find at your thigh area. So your thigh area, your neck area, area, these are like very thick arteries and veins. Okay, I would like to introduce the word to you. Don't say hole. Right? You see the artery hole very small, vein hole very small. It's very weird to say hole. Okay, so another word we use from now onwards in biology is the word lumen. Lumen means the hole of the blood vessel. Okay? So I can say, put in a sentence, the lumen of artery is smaller compared to the lumen of the vein. Sorry? Doesn't the? Hey, what did I say? Did I say the artery is smaller than the vein? Oh, yeah. So, this one all can compare. The lumen of the artery is smaller than the lumen of the vein. Why is it smaller? It's smaller because of all the thick layers of the muscle. Oh, okay. Oh, what are you looking at then? When you look at the vein, this is the lumen. Yeah, this whole big gap over here, this is the lumen compared to here. Yeah? Yeah, that's why it's smaller.
We have, but every time it's on the day where I cannot. Yeah, outside goes
Yeah.
It is for me every day.
Yeah. Alright, so lumen is just the hole. So like your straw, right, also have a lumen. Yeah? Question 6 asks you what differences you can observe between all the blood vessels. You go and copy paste this image good enough really. Because this image gives you a comparison between all the blood vessels. Yeah? They even went to the extent of endothelium, elastic tissue, smooth muscle. And then they show you what's the difference in level for each blood vessel. So this table is very good. Then alpha. What alpha? Oh, my name's always here. How young? How young? How young? Now you can even see the approximate size of these arteries. 4 mm. 4 mm are the size of some arteries in our body. Okay, we're nearing at the end. I want to show you something very interesting. Veins have something inside them that are very interesting. Okay, I want you to consider this. After your heart has pumped blood to, let's say, your toe area, right? Your toes, then your blood from your toes need to travel all the way up from your calf to your thigh to your heart, right? So you go against gravity, blood pressure already so low. How in the world does blood go back to the heart? So, actually our body makes use of 2 ways to bring blood back to your heart. And you can see these waves inside your textbook if you scroll down to the next page. Muscles. So your muscles help to bring blood back to the heart. Those muscles surrounding your veins. For example, let's say your blood is very and your vein area and your calf area. Just every time you are moving around, walking around, the muscles surrounding the vein will contract a bit, right? That will help to squeeze the vein a little bit, and then blood will go upwards towards back to your heart. Another interesting thing, veins actually have valves inside them, like your heart. Because if you think about it, if you don't want the blood to flow back the opposite way, you want it to only go one way in your veins, then you need valves to keep it going in that direction. Actually, you can find the veins, you can find where your valves are by doing a very simple action. Okay, let me draw something on my arm first. So, for example, I have veins in my arms. You can in fact see a little bit of them on the surface. Can you see? A little bit greenish. Right? Okay, I'm going to draw a vein on my arm. Okay, just for your, so that you can see. I'm going to draw a thick, but it's not actually this thick. Okay, so imagine this is my vein. Okay? Oh, very cool. Okay, so blood imagine needs to go back to my heart, right? But it's very low pressure. Not much energy there. So, actually our veins are lined with valves that go this way. Yeah? So as the blood is going back to my heart. If he tries to go backwards, he will shut the doors along the way. Yeah? So, let me erase away, then you can see on the whiteboard. These are my veins. I have valves. As it's going back to my heart, let's say it tries to go backwards, it will not work because the doors will close, shut. I can prove to you, right, that I have valves in my veins. How? What if I shut off my vein? Okay, if I shut off my vein and I use the muscles surrounding my vein to continue pumping blood, this is what will happen. The blood will start to flow upwards, it will start to collect at where the valves are, and it will start to bulge. Okay, it will start to bulge out. It will bulge out at where the valves are. So, I teach you, you want to find all your valves, right? You can just do this. You hold your arm over here, you kiap the vein, so you don't allow blood to go back to your heart, but you use all your muscles to pump. This is what will happen. The blood will slowly fill up every valve area, and it will start to swell up at certain points. Then you start to see small little round beads appear along my vein. That is where all the valves are. Okay, so I can only do this for a short while before my arm turns blue. So you need to see it very fast. Okay? Okay, so as I grab hold, I'm going to start pumping right now. Okay, can you see small little beads appear at certain parts of my head? Can you see fast? Can you see little dots appear?
Oh my god.
Can you see little dots? Okay, I'll just count that. Can you see the little dots appear along my vein? That's where all the valves are. Can you see? Can you see or not? Can you see little dots? Yeah? That's where all my valves are. Hey, quick, I'm losing blood. Okay, can you see all the... Yeah? Can you see fast? You see? I can really move my arm really up that. Can you see all the little dots along the way? Yeah? Okay, then what happens if I just raise my arm? If I raise my arm in the correct direction, all the blood will flow back to my heart. Watch out. So, okay, I'm running out of blood already. Okay, so, and then it all disappear. Yeah? So, when I raise it up this way, then everything will flow back to my heart. Yeah? So, you can try that yourself. You want to see all your veins appear and all the valves start to pop out. Yeah? Yeah? What if you're what?
Not moving.
Oh, okay. So you realize, what if you're not moving? Then there are no muscles to squeeze blood back to your heart, right? It's okay. Actually, it's still, the blood pressure, even though low, still enough to bring it back to your heart. But what we are saying is that with the help of these muscles, it's much faster. Okay? Next thing. I want to teach you, even though this is not your textbook, I want to teach you how to identify whether you accidentally hurt yourself at the vein area or artery area. After all, arteries carry a lot of oxygenated blood, right? To your important parts of your body. So you need to know when you accidentally hurt yourself at an artery or vein. The good news is that all the blood vessels you see, they are very close to the skin surface, they are veins. Okay? That means they are deoxygenated. So very often when you cut yourself accidentally, the blood that comes out, it is not blood from the artery usually. So where are your arteries? Your arteries are usually deeper inside. So usually when someone injures themselves very deep in, right, that's when arteries are injured. Yes?
When blood, like when the blood rush to like a specific part of the body, is that oxygenated blood or not oxygenated?
Well, okay, why do you say rush?
It's like a certain part of the body where the blood will rush very fast.
Which part of the body?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what question you're trying to ask here.
Why are you asking?
Why are you asking how, yeah?
That's curious.
Okay, we can talk about it later. Okay, so that's one thing. Your veins are actually on the surface. Those blood vessels, you can see their veins. Next, see the color of the blood within vein and arteries are different. The color of blood in your arteries are bright red. The color of blood inside the vein is a very dark purplish color. This difference in color is because of something called, you know what hemoglobin is here before? Yeah? Hemoglobin is very interesting. When it has oxygen, when hemoglobin has oxygen, it is bright red. When it has no oxygen, the blood is dark purple in color. So if you ever injure yourself, it's important to look at the color of the blood. If the color of blood is bright red, that means you've accidentally cut deep enough such that you are actually losing blood with oxygen, which is not very good for your body. Yeah? Third sign, we say the arteries, high blood pressure, right? So actually, if you accidentally hurt yourself at the arteries, blood will spurt out. Okay? But if it's at the vein level, it comes out slowly, which is what usually happens when we injure ourselves, right? When we scrape our knee, accidentally hurt ourselves, surface cut, blood don't spurt out, right? It just slowly comes out, right? Because it's low pressure.
Wait, isn't
Yeah.
it capillaries that are broken?
Sorry?
Isn't it capillaries that are broken? If you like
Oh, on your skin surface, the big things you can see are veins, but the small things that you cannot really see, they are capillaries. Some examples of capillaries are, have you all ever play that game where you go and smack each other's hand? Yeah, yours CS people stone, then the loser you go and smack the hand, right? Then the hand starts to turn very red, right? You know what you're doing there or not? There are a lot of capillaries on your skin, right? They are supplying blood to your skin cells. When you smack that, you are bursting the walls of the capillary. You know, that's what you're doing, you know? Every time you smack, then you go and smack the endothelium wall, then some of the blood cells will come out.
Oh my God.
That's why your hand starts to turn so red. Because every time you smack, right, you're breaking endothelial walls. Then you slap someone in the face will turn red, right? The blood is coming out. When you punch someone too hard, then the person starts to bruise. It's because the blood that came out starts to clot in that area, then it turns a dark color. So bruises are just breaking of your blood capillaries. The blood come out and start to clot in that area. Yes?
Now what about blushing?
Blushing, So blushing is, you have a lot of capillaries in your face. Then when you blush, right, the blood is just going into the capillaries.
But how does it know if you're feeling embarrassed?
First you ask me what happens when blood rush to an area. Then now you ask me why you feel embarrassed.
No, how does it know you feel embarrassed to rush there to blush? You don't just randomly blush, right?
Is you see whether I don't know how to answer this. Maybe it's in your brain lah. Oh yeah, I don't know what you're asking. Okay, so we will end off soon. Now let's just listen to how the heart sounds like.
Okay, but later I help you that. Like, biopractical. Later biopractical, you're just smacking each other's head.
Okay, we'll now listen to how your heart sounds like. Yeah, I hope you can hear it. Okay, when you go to JH4, you will learn about breathing by playing a computer game. You'll breathe pigeon. Okay, sorry, back here. Okay, let's listen to your heart. Okay, this is what your heart sounds like if you put a stethoscope up to the chest area. Listen up. Okay, scientists try to put words to describe this sound. So it goes something like that. They say it's a lap duck. So you hear lap duck, lap duck, lap duck, lap duck. Okay, so there are two sounds of the heart. The first sound is called lap. Second sound is called duck. Lap duck, lap duck. Last part of today, I just need you to know and appreciate. The lap is made from what? What part of the heart is making the lap sound? What part of the heart is making the duck sound? Want to make a guess? What is making the lap and duck sound? we learned about how the heart works, right? What do you think is causing the lap duct, lap duct?
Ventricle and atrial.
Could it be the ventricles? Okay, what about the ventricles? Could it be that every time a part of your heart contracts, you hear a lap? And then maybe you hear a duct when the atrial contracts. So what do you think is causing a lap sound? Lap and duct. Is it the contraction and relaxation? Could it be the valve opening and closing that's causing the lap duct sound? Actually, it is not the contraction and relaxation. It is really like a door opening and closing. So when you hear a lap duct, it's actually the valves of your heart opening and closing. So every time a door slams shut, you can hear a sound. The lap sound you hear notice the lap sound sounds a bit louder. Yeah? It is when the atrioventricular valves open and close. So for example, your bicuspid valve and tricuspid valve, they are much bigger. When they close, you will hear the lap sound. When the aortic valve and the pulmonary valve close, you will hear the softer sound. So you hear again, then you picture this is when all the valves are closing. Yeah? Okay? So every time you hear these sounds, actually they relate to your valves closing. That's what the doctors are listening up for when they hear, when they put the stethoscope up to your chest. I'd like to share with you different heart sounds. So some people, their heart may not work as well, and you can hear slight differences in their heart sounds. Okay, so these are not healthy individuals. You listen up. Notice the door doesn't sound like closed shut. But this one I feel also worried. Okay, another one.
Oh my god.
Can you hear? It almost sounds like there's still blood flowing through the door. Okay? And then this is how it's supposed to sound like. Okay? Yeah, so I do not need you to know the two that I just let you listen to earlier. But when you listen to a lap and duct, you should be able to match when a valve is closing. Okay? Okay, so that's all for today. What's after this? Recess. Okay, then you'll go recess earlier. Okay, so that's all. I'll see you again next week. I will put this Friday is alright. Alright. We have a good long weekend. Okay, thank you class.